Hello.
What up?
How we doing today?
We're microdosing today.
We are. What album is that you have there with you?
Well, I brought, I know we were supposed to talk about riffs, so I brought vinyl so you'd recognize the album because you're so fucking old, dude. I didn't want you to because if I brought out a CD, you'd be like, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? So I was like, I sent you a link for Apple Music and you thought it was like, you said, what is this? You're like, I don't believe in Nigerian princes. It was rough, man.
I thought it was a grocery company.
Yeah, you didn't know what it was. You were like, holy shit. You're like, is my Uber here? Like, you didn't know what was going on. So yeah, man, we're here to talk about Rift.
Yes, yesterday we went and tiered the albums. You can check that out if you go to the page, look at yesterday's stuff.
Fucking animals.
Animals. Because of this, I started listening to Riff last night. I figured I put the album in. I had a few beers, so I started tweeting about it. And I tweeted that Way should have been left off the album and been replaced by one of the other songs from the session. You responded, and then that was the birth of this. So
yeah, absolutely.
You want to go first? Defend Way there, maybe?
Yes. Way is key to my argument that, and everyone has to stick with me on this. Mike is a serial killer. Okay. Now we know that Trey is worth way a lot more than the rest of the band, right? And Riff is an amazing album, not just for the music, but it's also Trey's cry for help with the monster he's created. It's simply that Mike Gordon is a serial killer, and the only reason PHiSH keeps touring is that he's trapped the rest of the band in his hunt. And the band doesn't discover this until the Rift album, and it's a cry for help and a warning. The happy Trey we know is just a poor artist who snapped and accepted his lot in the gilded fucking hell, man. Rift is about how they step into the ultra wild reality fast, and it's not fast enough for them, right? That's when Mike drugs them. And then Trey and the guys lengthwise, that's when they wake up to Mike over their fucking beds. And they're fucking losing consciousness. And they wake up and they're being hunted by Mike in a fucking maze. And Sparko as Trey slipped from reality, his first break, and that's the whole cause of 2.0. Horn is after Mike drops them off and is like, now you fucking know. And Wedge is when Mike takes the whole band to the edge of a cliff and lays out the deal. Either PHiSH keeps touring and lets him go on his fucking decades-long murder spree and continue to hunt young nubile fucking whoops whenever he can, or he'll tell everyone how they were involved. And what Way speaks for itself, right? Right? All things considered, my friend, it's Ice. Mike is your double. Look inside the evil shadow side, bro. Mike is a fucking serial killer.
I've always felt that Mike shouldn't have had either one of the songs that he had on the album. Mound either. But Mound can stay, but I feel like you get rid of
Way is so creepy. You can't get rid of it. It's so creepy, bro.
I would have rather had Curtain when there.
You rather would have Curtain with. Are you fucking kidding?
No, not with. We don't. Well,
just
actually,
Curtain?
If you put
just Curtain?
Well, yeah, unless you put Curtain as the last song on the album, but that would screw up Silent in the Morning because then you could add the With, which is like a reprise.
Oh, Silent in the Morning is just the bodies, bro. It's Morning Dew.
Right. Well, I've always felt like you apparently think that Rift is a comment on the band. I always thought it was about a dude who was trying to break up with his girlfriend.
Well, I mean, that's how Mike would break up with his girlfriend. He'd kill her.
He cut her head off.
He cut her head off. And he'd weigh every piece of hair on her body. And then he would grab all her friends and put them in a pool after he killed them and weigh them too. That's the fucking song, man.
Right.
It's pretty bold for a murderer just to sing it to all his victims or possible victims.
My issue is that it's so much work for the fucking joke. I'd like to cut your head off so I could weigh it. I mean, it's so much work for a bad dad joke.
Well, I got to tell you, that is PHiSH. It's a lot of work for a really bad joke sometimes. Sometimes it's really funny. Listen, when we were young and they were playing chess with us, that shit made us horny, bro. I went to a few of those shows. That shit made me horny. I was like, so I've been following fucking this other guy around who's on heroin and his fucking 8 vagabond friends. You know what I mean? And like whoever else wants to play with him that week because every keyboardist gets sacrificed to Satan. And these kids are playing chess with the fucking band and eating acid and shit. This is fucking wild, right? And so like, but as I got older, I was just like, and I've been wondering this. And here's a question that'll get me into a lot of trouble 5 minutes in. Has Phish just really kind of become almost like a not novelty? What's the word I'm looking? A nostalgia act?
You know what I call them now? I call them the all new Phish review. Is what I call 4.0. Do you feel like,
yo, I can't, yo, who's backstage that put that opinion thing back? Listen, I'm just saying sometimes it feels very Dead & Co-ish.
Sure.
No, not even Dead & Co. I'll say it has more life than that. Phil and Friends 99.
Okay. I
got some life.
Definitely feel like that.
Got some life to it. There's new things happening. But the interesting thing is a lot of the new music comes from a lot of their solo stuff and not together, except for Sigma Oasis that we've liked.
Right.
Now, I liked a lot of other shit, but
Sigma
everyone
Oasis,
hates those.
Sigma Oasis, you had Everything's Right. I think that was a Trey tune.
That's a Trey tune.
Yeah, Life Beyond a Dream was the one, Ghost of the Forest, wasn't it?
I know that. I know
the extra tune or something.
I've done the math on where most of the new songs have come from in the last 10 years. I'll just let the fans figure that out.
Right. Those albums ended up pretty low when we tiered them.
Right. Which is funny, right? But Rift is another one of those albums that, like, when they released it, no one argued with. I was one of those people. I wasn't a Phish hater, and I wasn't like a fan, right? Because I knew there was by following the Grateful Dead long enough and actually seeing Jerry Garcia, I knew there was a difference. Sigma was pretty high. Actually, we're still getting corrected from. See, thank you. You can't trust.
Thank you, Mr.
Guy.
Producer.
You can't trust this guy. So, but you know what I mean? Like, I remember when Rift dropped, I didn't argue with it. Nobody I knew argued with it. Nobody turned it off when they were peaking on whatever. You know what I mean? Like, everyone was like, "Oh, the great fucking album," And
I feel like it would have been one of the top albums of the 90s by any band if they had left Way Off.
You really think if they would have left Way Off?
I think it made it almost perfect album.
The 90s where we had to listen to fucking like just basically anyone from Seattle who was white and had an acoustic guitar and shot heroin sick. Yeah. Those 90s.
Yes, those 90s.
That's a bold statement. How many hip hop albums are on your top 10 there? We don't want to talk about. We don't want to go.
Well, no, I don't know. I'd have to think about that, but I will tell you. I will give you this.
The fact that even Midnight Marauders didn't drop out your.
Anyway, I will give you this. One of the 3 best albums made in the 80s with London Calling is Public Enemy's Nation of Millions.
Well, yeah. But, I mean, that's the 80s. It was easy to be seminal in the 80s. That's why the Grateful Dead got away with so much shit. They finally got a fucking #1 hit. It was the 80s. It was the time bereft of anything other than new wave, punk rock, and what was happening in the Bronx, hip-hop. It was bereft of good music. It was like, listen, I fucking hate that album, right? But that was their #1 hit. Everyone knows Touch of Grey. Everyone knows Hell in the Bucket. And I got to be honest, I don't know if they would have been around for me in 91 if that album hadn't done so good.
I have a gray 45 of Touch of Grey on gray vinyl.
I'm sure you have a lot of things on 45. So do I, because we're old as fuck, and I just had the dignity to shave. That's the difference.
We totally went off the track. But Rift is fantastic. Let's finish off with
highlights.
What's your top tune off of it?
I would say my top tune, everyone is Fast Enough for You. Shout out to Rose Wimpy and the crew from the Camden My Birthday rail show. I never liked that tune until that night. I think before that night I would say either Sparkle or Horn.
Nice.
Just because Horn's just so matter of fact. It's like, you fucked me over. It's fucking terrible what you did.
I'm gonna stalk you.
Well, in my murder theory, yes. Generally, when I dance to it, it's like, people cross each other and hurt each other all the time, but they still love each other, so it doesn't really matter, right? Like, I'll still see you at 8, right? And that's how tour feels. No matter what people do, right? Maze, Mountain, It's Ice. Well, if we wanted your opinion, you'd have been on the show, but I didn't invite you as a guest this time.
Anyway, Maze is mine.
Maze?
Yeah,
I
Maze.
just like Maze because all the Bowie fans like me get pissed off, but I'm the
I
only one who
like
doesn't get
I like
butthurt.
paranoid and loud and fast.
Yes,
I'm good with that.
yes, I
And
like that too.
I think
I
we're
liked
gonna
metal in the '80s also.
we're gonna wrap this up here, but
Yep.
we're gonna definitely have you come back on again. And
Anytime, man.
no,
Anytime I
thank
talk
you.
shit on Twitter, call me
Yeah,
out.
talk shit on Twitter, and that's definitely a way to open the door. Thanks, guys.